Alrighty, Aphrodites. Come to your mat, get into a comfortable seated position. Make some sexy seaweed motion. Yes, you got it. Just moving around. They can have like a sneaky Eurythmy L in there, or little spirit fingers, or little jellyfish fingers. And then let your hands settle onto your knees with your palms up. Close your eyes, wiggle your spine long. Empty your breath and take a full inhale. Sigh it out again. And let's just take a couple of moments and relax here, leaning into the back space of your body. Noticing how the breath feels coming into your body, how the breath feels leaving your body. And then think of someone you want to dedicate your class to. Bring your hands to heart center, thumbs to your breastbone. Lift your heart up, soften your shoulders. Empty your breath and let's take 3 ohms. Take a deep inhale. And just pause for a moment, feeling the shift in energy. And then make your way to Sphinx pose to start. Well, to start. Kind of started already, oops. So your hands in front of your elbows about shoulder distance apart. You can always grab elbows just to measure it if you're not totally sure. Palms flat. And you can let your shoulders fall up into your ears. This is a variation of Sphinx where the magical turtle is added to the Sphinx. We don't usually talk about the epic turtle. As you first come into the pose, as you're, doing the little shifts and kind of checking in, notice what feels normal, what feels weird, or what feels weird, but it's kind of normal. And then start to make your shoulders heavy and pull them down. Lift your heart, just a little bit of effort. Realizing that, yes, it feels better to be a human head than a turtle head on the Sphinx. So you've made the right adjustments to make it suit your body. Then make the commitment to be soft and still and to stay in the pose through being distracted, uncomfortable, annoyed. I am black as the night from which the light of a new day descends. I am past, present, and future. I am the anointed of heaven. I am what I am. I am the blended colors of life that light the bridge into the new age. I am seed, plant, and flower. I am the anointed of earth. I am that I am. This quotation is the Serapis meditation given as an initiation text by Dr. Alfred Lingen, a Gnostic priest and founder of the Aquarian Spiritual Center. The meditation was conceived by him as a bridge between two cosmological ages, the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius, and represents the people who served as the bridge. The two pillars on either side of the bridge represent the two ages and the symbolic process in which human beings are initiated. Initiation takes place between what we know through tradition, what is the pathway of established spiritual truth, and the path of gnosis, connected to the underworld and to the dark night into which the human being must dream. As tempting as it is to keep reading the book, I'll leave it there for now. But today we're in the bigger picture. We're in changing times, intensity in the cosmos that is reflected on the earth, that is reflected in our relationships between each one of us humans, not just you beautiful loves in the class right now, but really each one of us. Notice how the posture intensifies just by staying there. Today, Pluto is Kazimi'd with the sun. I just want any excuse to use that fabulous word, Kazimi. You heard me right. But it's when the two planets, the sun and another planet, are so close that there's like that flash of light, you can nearly say. Take 3 more full deep breaths. And then after your third one, so on your 4th breath, lower your body down to the ground. rock around, roll around, move your knees, move your thighs, move your lower back, wiggle a little bit. And then allow your movement to move you eventually into some child pose variation. So having a little freedom, noticing what mood your body's in. Stretch your arms forward and walk your hands to the right. So you're feeling that side body stretch. Your forehead's on the ground, a little pressure on your third eye. And feel yourself breathe here. So I had one of those moments this morning where, as you maybe know, I've been teaching yoga for a really long time. I've been doing yoga since 2000. And I'm sure I heard this before, okay? And you all probably know it. But it just struck me in such a profound way this morning, where someone described why the inhale always happens. You don't have to make it happen. And it was basically like that the outside air pressure is greater than the inside air pressure. And so just the law of osmosis, like our body wants to acclimate and even out with the environment around us. And our ability to exhale is something that we really have to do. Even though, thank goodness, thank the gods, thank the stars, we can breathe on our own at night when we're asleep. And then start to walk your hands to the other side, stretching your right side body, letting your hips be heavy. And again, finding that same spot on your forehead. If it's too much pressure on your forehead, you can always bend one of your arms. I would bend my left arm on this side to be a little pillow underneath your face. Feel your side body stretch. When I do these drawings that I do for my astrological clients, I put the sun in the center of this painting or drawing. And Pluto is the outermost planet. So it's the most outer ring before the signs, before the zodiac. And in evolutionary astrology, Pluto points to the soul, points towards our soul. And the sun in occult physiology is our center, our heart. And in esotericism, it is also our future. And then start to walk your hands back to center and cross your ankles. Lift up and roll over your crossed ankles, bringing your feet in front of you, putting the bottoms of your feet together, putting your soles together. Let your heart lift up, wiggle up, let your shoulders drop behind you. Take a full inhale, and then with your exhale, start to soften down, dropping your head. Maybe you can catch your face with your hands, or your forehead might be nicer. You can have your elbows on the ground. Make the shape your own. Bring in the variety. So the sun is meeting Pluto in Aquarius. And one of the many themes connected to this archetype is that of multiplicity, of plurality. It represents the collective as well as our individuated self. Celebrating the idea that all beings are one and unique. This paradox that barely even fits in our minds. Notice if you're getting tense in any area of your body without your attention there. The mood of the day of the cazimi between the sun and Pluto is echoed in the fact that the moon is in the fourth quarter in Scorpio. The zodiac sign ruled by Pluto, or co-ruled by Pluto and Mars. One of the signs that is 90 degrees in relationship to Aquarius. So also another fixed sign. And back to the Sphinx, all the fixed signs are connected to what is sometimes referred to as the evangelist archetypes. And then start to roll up. And hopefully you have enough room behind you to come down to your elbows. Maybe shimmy your elbows together, pop your chest up. As an intermediate, you can even push the bottoms of your feet together. Feel the space it creates actively, and then drop your head back, relax your feet. If it's too uncomfortable to drop your head back, you can always keep your chin towards your chest. Or lower your back to the ground already, which we will do in a couple of minutes. So Pluto and Scorpio share a lot of the same archetype rulership, you can think, or they're located in the same kind of flavor. And both are so connected to death and rebirth, to transformation and transmutation, intensity and depth. Yet in this mood of when the sun is united so closely with this planet, and this flash of light moment, the Kazemi, happens, I always imagine, as the sun does for us, it does for all things, which it lifts up the life-giving forces, even of something that rules death. So slide your elbows out to the side, gently allowing your back to come to the ground. And then take your hands above your head, thumbs together, index fingers touching, spreading out all the other fingers. So it's like you have a crown. And you slide your hands down to where your head and the earth meet. So if you're unsure, you can look at, see what I'm doing. I'm lying on the ground. I don't have to lift my head. I just slide my thumbs down to where the ground and my head meet. You know, obviously, it's a little duh moment, but we think of the sun and we think of light. We don't know anything else from the sun. I mean, we know lots of stuff about the sun. We know lots of stuff about its effect and the archetype, but it never is unilluminated. It is the illuminated body in our universe. It is the source. It is the source of light. And Pluto, as you know, has been demoted from a planet to a dwarf planet. It's nearly as if it's being pulled away from us. Its intensity is not in how it blinds with brightness. Its intensity is the depths and the darkness and the blindness. The mystery. In this mudra that we're holding, your thumbs and your index fingers represent the macrocosm, the cosmos, the world, and the microcosm, you. And then you're stretching out the other three fingers. And they are connected to the three archetypal forces. The guanas. There are three. They're the rajas, which is passion, activity, confusion even. So all of this activity that moves up and away and into entropy. And then we have the tamas, which is this darkness, this density, that rather than being this diffused confusion becomes this hard, challenging, chaotic state. And then we have the sattvas, which is goodness, constructiveness, harmoniousness, harmony. Now stretch your legs long, let your arms relax down next to you, coming into a little Shavasana. And that mudra balances these forces and lets them kind of stream, and is said to help us tame our anger, settle or soften our anger. Now hug your knees up to your chest. We're going to do another little yang moment. So hug your knees up and then start to grab the back of your thighs and roll back and forth in your spine, and see if you can actually take, 5, 6, maybe the magical 7 rolls and blossom into a boat pose. Ta-da! Yep, it's hard to keep an open heart. Let your heart shine. Or, as we like to say, tits up. Yeah, beautiful. And then roll forward or come up to a seated position and cross your ankles and just shoot back to either a sphinx or a seal. So you might find that today your sphinx is your version of seal. If you have a bolster, you can always put it underneath your forearms and it brings you halfway to seal, or you can take your hands wider. Make the small adjustments to personalize your posture. For us, we discover the same combination in ourselves of knowing parts of us that are radiant, illuminated to ourselves. Knowing parts of ourselves that, quite literally shine forth from us, maybe even. But then we have so much that we still have yet to discover. And especially when we listen to another human being's biography, when we meet intensely with other individuals, we find ourselves reacting in yet again a new way, a different way, or maybe a variation on a very old way. And we are reminded that we don't even know the depths of our own being. Until it happens, we didn't know we would act that way. We would be that way. We would feel that way or think that way. So whether that was undiscovered until now or newly created in that moment, still remains a mystery to us. Keeping your mouth closed, take your tongue and just start to use the tip of your tongue and make kind of circles around where your lips are. I know, it's like we practiced this in 6th grade, right? Taking a time, like we're trying to massage our face from the inside. This actually even helps with the little, the little wrinkles we get around our mouth. All right, if your seal has not turned into a sphinx yet, OMG. But let yourself come down to the ground, soften down, release down. And feel, maybe you want to wiggle your hips or move your legs a little bit, but feel the warmth and the life force, the prana, the chi in your lower back, around your kidney area. Feel how that movement, that intensity has actually had a reaction that warmed you up a little bit in your back. It might still be a cool, in the rest of your body. And then once again, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and push your hips back to your heels, crossing your ankles, rolling over your crossed ankles. Ta-da! Stretching your legs forward for caterpillar pose. So you can leave a little space in between your legs and make sure your legs are really nice and relaxed. So it feels good to grab your thighs, wiggle your thighs. Might even be able to jiggle your knees, wiggle your calves. And oops, you're in a forward fold. Look at that. And then let your head soften down. Anytime your lower back is giving you problems, or even your middle back, you can always keep an active spine here and just trying to let yourself fall towards your thighs, letting the hinge release. So we can feel this wholeness in ourselves, this undividableness in ourselves that contains things we know and things we don't yet know. Or things that are unexpressible. As if words for those things, or those feelings, or that intensity has not yet been made. When we study cosmic evolution, when we study the different incarnations of the earth, there was an element of us that was like seed, or even less than seed, like idea or impulse for time. And then there was more of the seed, and then there was this development. And in these really, really long swaths of time, much longer than just the short lifetime we've been here this time around. We want to imagine there was something of us that was there in the beginning that is still a part of us now, that is going to be with us in the future incarnations of Earth, in the future reincarnations of ourselves that will still be consistent and true and part of a continuation of us. That in us now are, so to say, the seeds of who we are going to be in that way, way distant future. The seeds or the sprout or merely the idea of something yet unexpressed. And then start to walk your hands back towards you and take them behind your hips, bend your knees, feel your feet on the ground, spread out your toes, lift up your hips, squeeze your butt, lift your hips, drop your head, maybe even make some sound. And then bring your hips back down and stretch your legs out for dragonfly. Now you can just roll forward into it if you're feeling loosey-goosey, you know where you're going. Or if you want to be a little bit more careful, you can always take a fully extended spine, hinge forward, and once you've gone as far as you can, then bow your head and soften down. Now, one of the things that we learn about when we're doing teacher training to teach yoga is you hear the different ideas around lineage, that this practice is being handed down teacher to student again and again. And we have the same tradition when we're studying esoterica, when we're studying cosmology, where we want to understand where the information is that our teacher is getting or drawing from, as well as knowing our teacher to know who they are, or at least sense who they are. And part of why this is so important is that we want to understand how time can preserve tradition in our spiritual practices that allow the human being to access knowledge that has life of its own, that is knowledge that doesn't just rest in our brain or settle itself in our index of facts that we know, but that enters us and actually becomes a living activity that helps us meet the part of our being that is older than our skin and bones. And will someday perhaps become ancient. But these traditions allow us access to participating in a process that wants to happen in our becoming, in our individuation, in our development as a human being. Not just like my 2025 goals that I've set. Milestones I want to reach, bucket lists I've created, but really in this much further seeing practice of reaching the holy and the sacred even in the mundane. And start to walk your hands towards your groins. Place your hands on the ground. Spread out your fingers. Notice they look kind of like, I don't know, something. And then shift forward. Either lift your butt or maybe see if you can lift all of it. And then shake it out. And then hug it in. Lift your head, slide your feet forward, reach your fingers forward in a very slow little shout out to boat pose, not actually a boat pose. Lower your back down to the ground. And then continue to bring your right knee towards you and stretch your left leg long. If you're feeling a little tight in the hips, you can always, with your left knee bent, slide your butt cheeks to the right and then stretch your left leg again and drop your right knee to your left, coming into the twist. Take a full inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. One of the other fabulous things that both Scorpio and Pluto are connected to is a connection to taboo. In a day and age that we live in now, it's really like what's really taboo is so different than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And one of the things that is quite taboo in our social settings, in our collective meeting places, is to go deep, to not expose your body, but to expose your soul in how we meet each other. Now, while I'm actually surprisingly conservative when it comes to exposing yourself, especially younger children, dressing to expose, I think it's life-giving to find places in our daily lives, or at least weekly lives, to notice some places, to find places that we can meet and really expose more of our beingness, more of ourselves that is together with this timeless evolution of our being. With this type of honesty that isn't just revealing a fact that is true, but again, has this capacity to sculpt and create and refine and shape. Notice how intense it gets if you stay. We really do learn quite a bit from this Pluto and Scorpio archetype by screwing things up or doing things different. But it's part of our exploration. That's how we, part of being even a yogi isn't just to be perfect in your yoginess, but it's screw it up and keep returning to your practice again and again. I'll come back to center. Hug both your knees in and then do the opposite side. Make the adjustments you need to make it really fit your body and your needs today. Even if you'd practice and you want to do 50 minutes instead of the whole hour, go for it. It's really about showing up, not being perfect. I met with a friend today who's 8 months pregnant. Talk about the pleasure of the beingness that is there with so much mystery still around it. Notice how your breath is moving in your body. I am black as the night from which the light of a new day descends. I am past, present, and future. I am the anointed of heaven. I am what I am. I am the blended colors of life that light the bridge into the new age. I am seed, plant, and flower. I am the anointed of earth. I am that I am. Take 3 more full deep breaths here, and on your 4th breath, roll back to center. So with these guanas that I talked about, what we're cultivating in them and why that pose is an anger releasing pose is because we're cultivating these balance really between all of these archetypes. And it's that balance that has the essence of sattva. So you are open to do whatever you want, always. You can come into Shavasana already, or you can come into what's not so sexy called stirrup pose in Yin Yoga, happy baby pose. You can come into Viparita Karani, so you extend your legs with your hands underneath your lower back, or you can do Viparita Karani up against a wall, which is really nice and restorative for your legs. So in this, changing of ages that we're in, as in some ways we're always in, absolutely, but there's so much astrological activity that is bringing newness into our life and into our experience. There's so much cultural activity. There's so much activity that is just, we can't help but notice the intensity of times and the changes that are moving so rapidly. How can we bring the sattvas, this goodness, constructiveness, harmony? How can we find balance? How do we bring forward just enough of the past to really keep us in lineage, but not bogged down and stuck in empty tradition? How do we, allow our philosophies and our practices to have life in them and to be relevant and contemporary? For me, this is part of how do we allow our soul and our heart to be kazimied together in our being. Just like the Pluto and the sun today. And there are as many answers to that as there are stars in the sky, I think. But it's up to you to find out what's true in your everyday life and being. Hug your knees to your chest. Maybe lift up your face and kiss your knees, thank you. And then stretch your heavenly body down on earth into corpse pose. Maybe covering your eyes in Shavasana or just closing them, using a blanket or just laying still. Start to deepen your breath. Excuse me. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Smile a little bit. Or just wiggle your face around. Wiggle your nose. And then stretch your arms up over your head. Reach your feet away from your arms. Stretch long. And then with your exhale, hug in, roll in, come onto your side. And feel the vibrancy in your body. Help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to meet at heart center. Lift your heart up into your hands and then take Anahata Mudra. So blossom your fingers open, keeping your pinkies touching and your thumbs touching like a chalice. So you could theoretically drink out of that. Thumbs against your chest. Close your eyes. Think of the person you dedicated your class to. Empty your breath. Take a full deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands together, thumbs to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow down together, we say, Namaste. And so much love. Woo! Thank you.